Today I'm gonna show you how I make progressive house. Yo, what is up guys, welcome to a new video. My name is Wildcrow and today I'm gonna show you how I made my new song out of my head that I self-released by myself for my birthday. If you want this song, down below in the description you have a link, you can go check it, download it for free, you can use it in your sets or wherever you want. And basically today I'm gonna show you the project, I'm gonna show you everything I did, the layering, the sounds, everything. And if you want to know how I self-released this song in all the streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music and all of that and get 100% of the money that this song makes, down below in the description you have a discount for DistroKit and you're gonna be able to self-release all the songs you want to. So this is my song out of my head. Maybe you think it's super chaotic, but don't worry, I'm gonna explain everything and it's so simple. I'm gonna focus now on the instrumentals, so I'm gonna mute all the vocals. And let's go now on the beginning that the song starts like this. On this song I decided to start with the end of the melody. This is something I already talk about in my YouTube channel, but basically with this I'm introducing the song and people, if already heard the song, is gonna know what song it is because they recognize the melody. So it's good to sometimes add a part of the melody or the main thing at the beginning of the song. Then also to introduce the piano I decided to add this reverse piano. So this is just so simple, I just cut it this part, and recorded just this with a lot of reverb and reverse it. So in the beginning of the breakdown, as you can see, it's really simple. I just have the piano and another piano doing a small melody. As you can hear, it has a lot of reverb but also a lot of delay, so I can cover all this space here that I don't have any notes. But the really important thing is to add ambient sounds like this too. If we just play our breakdown without these sounds, it's good, but if we add this, it covers a lot more space and it sounds way better. Now a really important thing is that after 8 bars, these 8 bars, you add something new. And as you can see here, I decided to add a lot of things. All of this is new in this part. And yes, of course, you can just add maybe the sub bass or maybe the snaps. But as the previous part is quite empty, we just have ambient sounds in the piano, I decided to add a lot of things because this way I create a big impact and the song has a lot more energy. If we focus on the instruments, we have the pianos. But as you can see, there's something here in the background, and it's an automation, a low cut. Basically what I'm doing in this part, I enable this low cut that, as you can see, it's not doing that much, but it's reducing a little bit. And I do this because here I add this sub bass. Maybe you're thinking why I don't have this low cut all the time, because in the previous part we only have the piano. So what I decided to do is to have a bit more bass from the original piano, so this way it sounds a bit fuller, but then obviously as I add the sub bass, I need to use a little bit on the sub frequencies of the piano, so I give more space to the sub bass. So basically if I don't have any sub bass, I have the sub bass of the piano, and if I have a sub bass, I have the sub bass of the sub bass. As you can see, I also have here a bass guitar break, but it's not used. And I'm showing you this because it's good to try different things. For example, this is just a normal sub bass, but this is more like a guitar bass with a bit more body. But on this one I have a rhythm and this one I have long notes. I just tested both and in the end I decided to use this one because it fitted better on this song, or at least in this part of the song. So just always try different things. Then as this was sounding a bit empty, I decided to add these pads. And as you can see, they are in the sides, because the piano and the sub bass and so are more in the center, so I needed some frequencies here on the sides to make the entire stereo spectrum really full. Then I have just a long string, the ambient sound I had before, a snap, and as you can see here I have a small percussion just to add an extra rhythm. I said before that after 8 bars you need to add something new, and that's why I'm adding all these sounds. But it's also good to add something after 4 bars. For example, after the first 4 bars, I have here this guitar sound, and here after the first 4 bars, I have this kind of transition voice effect. Also down here you can see this muted. This is just an acapella of a Bystone song, White Lies, and I just have this to start with the idea and get inspired. When I started this song I didn't have any vocals, but I wanted some vocals to really know how the song in the end could sound and to get inspired, because sometimes you add a vocal and it's like, okay, here I need more sounds or I don't need that many sounds. So that's why I used an acapella from an original song that sounds really good, sounds full and has a reverb and all these things, because it's closer to an end result of a vocal that I can use. Then just mute this vocal and just need to find good vocals. In this case I took the vocals from a website called Vocal, and the vocals I got are just this. Now I'm falling deeper than deep. But the thing is that when I heard this vocal, it had an instrumental on top, and that instrumental had a kind of plucky sound that I liked. So I got inspired from that and I decided to use it in my song. So now if we play the instrumental with this arp, as you can see, it has a bit more rhythm, sounds a bit more beautiful and fuller. Again, after 8 bars, we have another section of the song that has different sounds, different rhythm, or things like this. As you can see in this part, I keep most of the sounds that I already used, but I decided to add a lot of new ones. Basically on this part, I want to add more rhythm to the song and also make it sound a bit brighter. To make it brighter, I have these hi-hats. I also have some strings, and these strings are quite interesting. If we check the strings, they sound like this. Basically, they are doing the chords, but in triplets. This song is not in triplets at all, but I decided to try it, and I actually liked it, you know. There's not a problem if I have kind of ambient sound or sound more in the background in triplets in a song that is not triplets. If it works, it works. Apart from this, I decided to add all these percussions to create rhythm. And here I have a kick. It's so basic, so I decided to add a stomp kick on top, so together sound like this. And with the drums, it's like this. And everything together. Again, after 8 bars, we have another section. This case is the build-up. In the build-up, as you can see, I still have some of the breakdown sounds, basically the main ones, the pads and the pianos. But I decided to cut all of the other sounds. Here, what I'm gonna do is introduce the new melody, but instead of introducing with the leads, I'm gonna introduce it with a break guitar. This guitar is from this plugin DVS Guitar, but as you can see, it has a lot of processing. So if we mute everything, it sounds like this. But with the delay, the reverb, and EQing and so, it sounds like this. As you can see, it has a lot of delay and reverb because I wanted to make it sound really emotional. Apart from this, the build-up is not really interesting, just have some effects to go up. As you can see, when the build-up starts, I just have this sub-drop. I don't have any downlifters or other effects going down because I thought it was not really needed for this transition. Not in every song and not in every transition you need effects first to go up and then to go down. Sometimes sounds good without them. Just something to mention is that the drums start at the middle of the build-up here. And to help it start here, I decided to add a drum fill before. And also this impact and this riser from here that you already heard. And just another thing to mention is that this riser, I kind of made it myself, because what I decided to do is to take this riser and automate the volume. So its way is a bit more unique. Then we go to a drop, and obviously we have a lot of percussions like this. As you can see here, I have another kick that I didn't use, and it's just because I was trying different kicks, and in the end I decided to use the one I have right now because it sounded better. So as I said before, try different samples, try different rhythms, try different sounds, so this way then choose the ones you prefer. And on the second part, I have extra cymbals to add more rhythm. But what's really important and interesting on this drop is not the bass line, the chords, or the leads that sound like this. Is the ear candy that I used on this song. The ear candy are just sounds, effects, automations that you can use in your song to make it sound more interesting and cool. And on this one, I used a lot. For example, if we start with the bass line, as you can see here, I have a pitch bend that makes us go from down to up and then go down again. On the chords, I also have an automation, and it's a gate or tremolo effect. If I don't have it, it sounds like this. But with the automation, it adds a bit more rhythm. Also, I kind of have ear candy on the leads, but not in them. I have these rights here that are doing the rhythm of the leads. Basically with this, I'm trying to add more attack to the leads and to make them sound a bit fuller or more noisy, you know, all these things. I also have this noise here to help on the melody. But in the end, I have all of these of ear candy. So this is the song without any ear candy at all. But if we add everything, it sounds way fuller and more interesting, so add ear candy to your songs. Another kind of different thing that I did on this song is that usually in progressive house and electronic music in general, at the 8 bar of the drop you have a drum fill, you filter the leads here, or you do something different. What I decided to do in this song is not do it in the 8 bar, but in the first one of the next part of the drop. Then before talking a little bit about the mixing, I want to go to the second part of the song where I have a bit different things. You always need to try to make the second breakdown a bit different from the first breakdown. And for example, on this one, I start with this ambient guitar and micro sound. Instead of having this rhythm that I had here, I just have a normal kick, a 4 to the floor, just filtered. Then in this part, I add more rhythm with the claps, with the shakers, but I decided to add these orchestral drums. But I think the more interesting thing comes here, in this new part. This new part, I decided to delete basically all the percussions, all the rhythms, basically all the synth and sounds. I just have down here the high pads, and then at the middle I decided to introduce the pads, so it sounds like this. Because on this part, I want you to focus on the vocal. So if you play with the vocal. In the dark, and my hands are shaking, I'm alive, but my important things to mention is that here I have an extra reverb. I want a lot more reverb here to fill the space. The sub drop that you hear on this bar is just the break bass with an automation going down. It's not a sub drop sample, I prefer to do it this way in this part. And then just the build up is the same one, and in the second drop is the same one, but I decided to add this hoover. This way I add a bit extra energy. And now let's talk about important things in the mixing of this song that I think are gonna help you so much in your productions and your mixing. First of all, up here you can see this. This is just pig noise. It's gonna sound so bad now, sorry for your ears. But why do I have this here? Now as you can see it's muted. Basically what I do is when I have all the song and I want to mix it, I enable this noise, I go to a part where I have more sound, for example here, and I start listening to my song with this ping noise. This is gonna help me so much to know if something is loud enough or not loud enough. For example, you add the kick, you can hear it perfectly, and then you add the vocal, you don't hear the vocal. Then you need to boost more the vocal. But if you boost it too much, you're gonna hear a big difference from the noise to the vocal. So there you're gonna know that you need to reduce a bit more. Another really important thing that I have on this song on the mixing are these two things. As you can see, it says Here Tonight leads and Wildcrow I Never Wanted leads. Are lead stems from my own songs. So basically, the way I use this is just enable this, listen to it, and now listen to my leads. So just using my ears, I compare the reverb, the higher frequencies, the noise, the width, all these things, and I try to make my own leads sound similar as those. Sometimes I also use a magic cue to know better where I need to boost or reduce. Trust me, try to get as many stems as possible from remix contests or wherever, because this is gonna help you so much improve your mixing. Another important thing I want to mention is what I did on this bass line. Did you hear the tail? Yes, I added reverb to this bassline. Maybe some people are gonna tell you, no, what the hell, why are you doing this? It worked, it added more space, and it's just the mid bass, not the sub bass. So this is the reverb I decided to use. As you can see, it's a long reverb, but just a little bit. It adds a bit more space, and as I wanted this song to sound really emotional with a lot of reverb, and so I decided to add an extra reverb on this bassline, just a little bit. Don't worry, if you have it controlled, there's not gonna be any problem, because the problem comes when you add reverb to your sub bass, not to your mid frequency sounds. And the last thing I want to mention is about the vocal. As you can see, this vocal already had the main vocal, the harmonies, here I had some ad-libs. As you can see, this ad-lib is playing another melody. So I decided, why don't I use this in other parts of the song? So basically here, I decided to create it myself. You're my somebody, you're my nobody, you're my body. And how I did this? Just using Newton. Basically, I just put the vocal to Newton. I went to the part I liked, that is right here, and decided to move the notes up and down until I had something that I liked. Just put it here, and together with the harmonies and this, that is the main vocal but one octave lower, it sounds like this. You're my somebody, you're my nobody, you're on my body. So basically this is how I did my song out of my head. But Wildcrow, why don't you explain how to layer the progressive house leads, or how to cue, or how to do the kick and the bass? Because I have a lot of tutorials explaining that really in depth, and I don't want to make this video like 3 hours long. So nothing else, guys. I hope you like this video. I hope you learned something with my new song out of my head. As I said, down below in the description you have the link. You can go and listen everywhere, but also you can download it because it's for free. Also, thank you so much to all these people here that are my Patreon members. If you want to be a Patreon member, this way I can help you really in depth in your productions. You can have exclusive sound banks, sample packs, stems from my songs, so this way you can compare them to your own stems, and this way you make better music and mixing and all of this. A lot more other things just down below in the description. You also have a link to Patreon, so this way you can go, read all the info, and sign up if you want to. So nothing else, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Remember to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any tutorial, and see you in the next video.